Welcome in, share the live out.
Yeah, all right. How you doing?
All right, so tonight we're gathering to discuss mindful love. Can you truly have consistency, communication, and chemistry without good mental health? So we're going to start with everyone introducing themselves. We'll start with DJ.
Hello, everyone. I am DJ or Pastor DJ. I'm definitely excited about this here topic. It is something that is personal to me, so I'm ready to have this conversation.
Mr. K Short.
Hey, what's up? I'm K Short, life coach, relationship coach, educator. I do a little bit of everything. Entrepreneur, father, grandfather. Yeah. That's about it.
Retired military.
Yeah, retired military, author.
Yeah, you got a little bit more.
Yeah, I got a little stuff going on.
I didn't
All
know
right.
we was running down the whole list.
And I ain't doing that.
Dr. Tony.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Tony. I am a politician, an elder in the church. I'm an author. My newest children's book will be out hopefully before the end of the month. It's a book on children's mental health. It's a series called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And what else? I am the purpose strategist. I help people expand in their purpose, discover their purpose, and grow in it. Love. That's my niche, is the purpose strategist.
Welcome in, Wilkerson. Next, we're going to have Mika.
Hi, my name is Formika or Mika. I am a social worker, author. I don't do life coaching anymore or any therapy right now. I am, what else? Mom T. I have a niece that I have custody of, so I do that full time. I work in the healthcare industry right now, but that's pretty much it right now. Hey.
Keith.
What's up? My name is Keith Stark. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm also an educator, an author, a speaker, some say coach, a life coach, football coach. It used to be, I'm not and I'm just glad to be here. When I'm in this space, I'm little Keith with the red hat. That's my big bro, Big Keith.
Mr. Big Key. Hey, man, did you say Instagram model?
yeah. But now that you mentioned it, I ain't say it, but I left that out.
I'm sorry, go. I'm sorry.
Okay, so everyone in the chat, if you could, please tap throughout the live. We've been here for a few minutes, but it doesn't seem like the taps are moving very much. So if you guys could do that, we really would appreciate that. That'd help us out a lot. And also share the live out with a friend or 10 so that other people can hear this great information that the panelists will be presenting this evening.
Yep.
All right, so tonight again, we'll be talking about
yourself. Go tell us about you.
Oh.
What up, Will?
So I'm LJ. I'm the new to the life coaching. It's going to be a year in August. I've had this platform for 11 months. Next month will be the 1-year anniversary, and we focus on mental health as well as relationships. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I have a couple of 2 or 3 degrees, but not really anything that's important for tonight. So we'll stick with what's important for tonight. And again, the topic is mindful love. Can you truly have consistency, communication, and chemistry without good mental health? And this just isn't about relationships. It's about emotional health, personal growth, and learning how to love from a healed place. All right. Okay, so the first question, this is open to anybody that wants to answer. That's how the questions will be set up tonight. I used to assign them to individual people, but we're not doing that anymore. So, which of the three C's, consistency, communication, or chemistry, do you think most people prioritize and why? And anybody can jump in and give their view on that.
What's consistency?
Communication.
And chemistry,
Yeah.
which one do you think people prioritize the most when it comes to relationships?
I think that a lot of people focus on chemistry first initially because they want to have that vibe. They want to have those butterflies. They want to be able to have those feelings. And then they realize that, wait a minute, this isn't the most important thing. Then they start adding the consistency and the communication. But I think initially people start with chemistry.
And can you tell me what your definition of chemistry is? Because everybody has. I learned the other day that people have different definitions when it comes to chemistry. So
Mine is probably not popular one, but since you're asking me, when I look at chemistry, I look at, can we coexist? Do we vibe together? I think that's probably a term that is kind of general, but can we vibe together? Can you be in a room and before you get in the room, I'm discombobulated because I got to speak, and I'm discombobulated because you're not there yet. But when you walk in the room, it just settles me because we have that chemistry that has nothing to do with um, sexual intimacy, but it's an intimacy that can go untouched. So that's chemistry to me.
Yeah, I like that. And just to add to what Dr. Tony was saying, I believe chemistry probably should be the starting point, right, of any relationship because when you're building that relationship, hopefully that there'll be a friendship in that space. And without that chemistry, like you're not gonna effectively communicate with someone that you're just meeting, right? And consistency, it takes a pattern to be developed. So I believe that chemistry should be the starting point.
I think if I can, I'm gonna probably place them in the order. I think based on what we see the most. I think chemistry. I agree. To add to that, chemistry is something that is initially what's important first. People being able to say, "Hey, listen, there's something about what we have that I want to connect with." But it's then after that communication. It goes from chemistry to now communication is now the focus of the thought. Most issues and most problems begin with communication, right? Every issue is a communication issue most of the time. If it's financial, it's somebody didn't communicate about something and we're not on the same page. If it's cheating or whatever the issue is, communication is always the challenge. And then whatever we work on, whatever we're working through, consistency becomes the goal in order to get there. To have effective communication and to maintain that chemistry, consistency is important.
Oh yeah.
I I probably would say something a little bit different because to me, nothing can happen without communication. Like you can't even if you're attracted to me, if you don't approach me, you got to communicate to me in order to approach me, and in order for me to be interested, you better come like with a good communication. Like it can't be anything crazy or anything. So I would say communication, and then chemistry and consistency is what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what, Dogo? One of the things that when we're talking about communication, a lot of times there's two different, sometimes there's two different arguments or two different focuses, and one of them is the ability to talk, right? That communication, right?
Oh man.
And most people are like, he won't talk to me or she won't talk to me means that they won't communicate with me. But then communication is also how effective do we operate our day to day through whether it's verbal or nonverbal. How effective do we operate our day to day with our words, our actions, and our behaviors. And that I think helps to sum up effective communication. First is the words we speak, but then it's how we speak that's important as well. So.
I agree with you. And actually, communication can get people in trouble because a lot of people are smooth. I can say a lot of people. Some people are smooth talkers, so you can literally get caught up in the communication part of it and not be focusing on the things you need to be focusing on because they're saying all the right things, but it's not really communication is what they're saying.
Yeah, but I think we play with the term too much because communication is listening. If you can't listen to understand, you're not communicating. You're just receiving information and you just playing with it and doing whatever you choose to take it. So, communication is also responding. You're here, and then you let that person know, well, this is what I think you're saying, or this is what I heard you say. So we don't listen very well, and that also allow us to tweak and turn things how we want it to be.
Well, I would say too, you can't have, I think chemistry and communication go hand in hand. To me, it does. It's like, do we have chemistry, and are we learning that we have chemistry through our communication? And if we do have chemistry through that communication, are we able to still have chemistry even when we disagree, even when we don't see eye to eye, even when all these things come up, right? So I just feel like, and a lot of times people look at chemistry as um personality, oh, we got good chemistry because our personality match. Does it? You know what I'm saying? Does it match? If you have a disagreement, will you still have that same chemistry? So I guess to me, it's just the chemistry and the communication have to go. Even like when Keith was saying, even at work, like, do I have good chemistry with some people I work with? No, because I don't like the way they talk and I don't like them personally. So you know what I'm saying? So whatever they say to me, I'm not hearing, I don't care. And I have to learn to now put professional in there. But we'll talk about that. That's a whole nother other topic.
It goes back to what he was saying, listening,
Yeah.
even though you don't like what they're saying,
Yeah.
might get you in trouble if you're not listening to something important,
Exactly. Get me sometime. I ain't gonna lie, especially at work.
And it's interesting that you said that because I was just about to point out the aspect of have you ever been in a relationship with somebody and you don't like that person? Like, okay, that makes you tune out a lot of stuff that's being said. If you have chemistry and you like the person that's sitting in front of you and you like your opponent or whatever you want to call it, then that communication and that consistency, it's even more intentional because now I want to be present in every aspect, even those uncomfortable moments. I still want to be present. So, but
Right.
But then, what DJ did, the biggest thing is what type of chemistry we talking about.
hey, man, either way, I want to be present.
No, it's tough because like, a lot of people have connections that are just organic.
Yeah,
And
physical connections.
that's a chemistry flow. Then there's a physical chemistry flow.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's different type of levels. And I just think we try to group everything into one conversation, and it's too hard.
Yeah.
And Keith, when you say that, when people think that chemistry is physical, sometimes they throw out the consistency, they throw out the communication because the physical is so on point, if you will, that they just throw everything else out the window and nothing else matters, and then you end up in a
Dysfunctional relationship.
Conundrum.
dysfunctional relationship
or a situationship.
Situation.
a soul tie, right?
Yeah.
Because you so intertwined with that person and you have nothing else but that. And then you got to work your way out of this thing. And it takes, you just end up, going down a road that you don't need to be on. What?
You ain't gonna touch that.
Yeah, no, last thing. And that's based on how are you at that moment when I met you? Do I need intimacy? Do I need physical touch? What need are you feeling? Because if you feeling my physical need and that's my immediate need, I'm gonna love you to death for about 60 days.
How that's so true. I actually I'm working with a client couple who's he's a professional athlete and they can't get their relationship together. They don't see eye to eye, whether it's politics, and in no way, shape, or form should they be together.
Wow.
but their sexual compatibility
Yeah.
is off the chain. And so when you even bring up the word sex, they start smiling and googly eyed. They could be in the middle of an argument. They could be not sitting apart, but you bring up their sexual intimacy and they go, they go to another level. And I said, that's what connects you. That's the only thing you have in common, but it's not enough to sustain you.
No.
Man, okay.
Okay, at the beginning when when everybody introduced themselves, the one thing I didn't say is that this is a closed panel. So people that are in the chat, the only time that you'll have an opportunity to come up will be at the end. Once we've gone through the program, you can come up and ask questions at that time. So
Yeah,
we won't be
start writing your questions down. Write them down so you won't forget.
right. Yeah.
And keep tapping the screen, please.
Okay, so consistency, is it a red flag or a mental health flag?
That question is all
What's the,
everywhere.
yeah,
That's not. I don't even understand it. I'm sorry.
yeah. I was about to ask you that.
Okay, so if you don't get consistency, is it a red flag?
See,
Or is it something going on with the person?
I ain't gonna answer that because I know when I'm busy, what do you consider my consistency? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think,
And I don't know. I can't. I have a difficult time tying that into a mental health issue.
Yeah.
Consistency?
Yeah.
Being
No,
a red flag. Yeah.
Okay, so let me chime in just real quick, D, because I understand where it's going now. And now I'm just going to speak for me, but in that space, there's times when, and I'm going to speak freely right now, but there's times when my mental may affect my communication and my consistency. However, in that space, I express what's going on. If I get quiet, if I'm not as engaging, if I'm not doing what I usually do, then this is what's going on. Now, there will be some sort of communication, but it's not going to be as intense until I can pull myself back to where I'm in a healthy, productive aspect, because I don't want to say anything out of whatever I'm feeling right now. So I can understand that. So I think the red flag will only be if there's a lack of understanding and the type of consistency that we agreed upon at the beginning of our relationship.
I like that. Because
So the key thing that you said is this is something that should be discussed at the beginning in terms of what what I don't like that word expectations because it's going to set
So
keep on.
from
But
my perspective, right, I can feel certain things coming on. So maybe not at the beginning, but if I feel like I'm kind of starting to go into a space, okay, this is what's going on. So give me a moment to figure out what's going on inside of my head, and I will express that to you, but not necessarily at the beginning, but as the relationship progresses and I see a space where we can continue to evolve, then that understanding will be there.
But then again, I think that's part of the communication part. That's if you are having a mental health time crisis, right?
Right.
And you know that your consistency or how you have been flowing is going to change up because you may be experiencing some depression, mental health, or whatever, and you don't communicate that, then I can see where the consistency may lack and the person may not understand. But if you're not, but to me that's more of lacking communication. Like express, you should feel comfortable going to your person expressing, hey, this, like you said, this is what's going on with me. I may not be in the same routine or have the same consistency that I have had because I'm battling this. I don't think consistency has anything for me to do with someone being diagnosed or having a red flag for mental health or having mental health. I think that is lacking communication if you don't communicate it. But I don't think consistency and mental health can go in the same. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's hoping that.
I think it becomes a challenge because consistency is something that it's the lack of consistency or missing the ability to be consistent is something that we all have, right? Consistency comes with intentionality, and so oftentimes in our lives we become consumed with so many other things life be lifing, right? And so it may cause for us not to be consistent in some area in our lives. And one of the easiest areas in our lives to not show consistency is in our relationships. So because it's always there, and it just continues to flow, and we can flow in relationship business and still not flow in consistency. And so it's something that we have always, but the ability to get back to that consistency is important. And so and I agree, it comes with communication. When things are off, sometimes you don't know you're not being consistent until your partner say, "Hey, listen, what you're not doing this anymore. We
Changed over.
beat," and then you're like, "Oh shucks, let me get back to it." So it happens all the time, and it comes with intentionality in order to maintain it.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. That's what the understanding. Hoping that everyone is cognitive of it, and a lot of times it's just in the back of our mind until it's presented. You be like, so yeah, I agree with that one, my brother.
But I say this because I've been diagnosed with depression and mild anxiety, PTSD, all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And when I meet somebody off the rip, I say, look, when I'm having my moments, give me a minute. Just give me a minute.
Gotta make
Don't
sure I like it first.
right. Yeah, don't push. No, I tell DJ when I meet somebody, listen, don't push me when I say give me a minute. It has nothing to do with you.
Right.
80% of the people, Keith, I want to help. What can I say? What can I do? Leave me alone.
Yeah. That works.
Yo, give me 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Because I'm at a point where now I can, okay, all right, Keith, I'm tripping. Then I'll
Right.
come back to you, apologize, boom, boom, boom. But when you push at that wrong moment, you're going to get it.
Right.
I'm with you, bro. Yeah.
You're going to get it.
As from a singles point of view, we have to be really aware of the consistency red flag. Perhaps that red flag has nothing to do with mental health issues, but perhaps that lack of consistency is lack of interest.
Hold on, let me put my
It
glasses
can
on.
be. It can be.
I can hear you.
Or a loss of
Absolutely
interest.
can be.
Oh, Tony, watch this. Or a loss of interest.
Could be absolutely. Well, there's no interest.
Well, here's the deal. I can think I like you until I get to know you.
Right, but I'm saying that I need to be aware of. I can't just say this is probably, he just needs a moment. No, because you consistently are inconsistent.
Right.
But that's consistency.
That is consistency. But no, I need to really, I gotta really look at this,
Yeah,
look
making
at
me
it,
think.
be honest with myself, and see it for what it really is. If you have already told me, listen, I go into these, sometimes I have a little, I need a little space, then I already understand that because you've already communicated that with me. But if your consistency is a lack of consistency always, if you're consistent in that,
I think
And you know what else?
Good.
If you always need your moment, this is my thing. I get what you're saying, K Short. And I had something blue, y'all, so my tongue blew. So, but
I'm like, this is my
but if you always, this is the thing, when you first start early on and saying, I need that space, it's good you're communicating that you're going through this, you're going to need your space. The other thing that can follow that is that every time you feel like you just don't feel like being bothered, you use that as the reason, like, I just need my space, then that becomes a problem. The other thing is that you have to be able to, even with your mental health and even with that situation of saying you need your space, I feel like someone, when you're trying to get into a relationship, the relationship is that's your best friend, that's your partner. So they're going to need more than just starting to give you your space. You're going to have to be able to talk that thing out, communicate that thing, pray that thing out. You can't be telling your wife, give me space, like every time, every 5 minutes, every 8 minutes, every day, when you need space. Like, you need to, because then to me, it becomes a problem with, so every time you get upset, every time you and your emotions, and every time you and your feelings, I got to give you space. And then we talk about it when we talk about it. Now, there's one thing when you say, give me my space, because you're really having a true moment and you really need time to process. That is good. Yeah, you
It's
need
rare,
to communicate that. But if you're saying that for every time that you're in a space where you're not good, to me that is not healthy for a relationship.
No, it's not.
That's not healthy.
Babe, I
It's
need
not.
my
But I want to clarify. I just mean every now and then. Every now and then. You know what I mean?
yeah every now and then.
But you know what? Hey, Keith, I got a question for you, man. And G, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you good.
No, you're fine.
How likely is it to meet someone in their 50s now? Just help me out. That don't have some type of mental type of issue going on because of life, just life in general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
think it's very difficult. I mean, I think it's kind of it's a mental health issue to believe that people at our age don't have issues.
don't have.
That's the issue, right? That's the issue because we've had life experiences that creates these biases in our lives that kind of motivate our thought process, our belief systems, and so we're gonna be biased to our own thought process and traumas and issues and how we relate to things until we're challenged on that and we realize that, oh shoot, I gotta think or do something different. So it's unlikely, man. It's unlikely. You're gonna have some form of I don't know if I want to say mental health challenge, but I'll just say some ways of life
That's what I feel.
that have been motivated by your experiences. And a lot of that, when it comes to relationships, is based on, and we see that on this app all the time, is based on societal norms, what's going on in society, is based on other people's relationships, is based on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook, MySpace too, I think. So it's motivated by all these things, but at the same time, that's why it's important to take some time. This is a whole nother conversation, to take some time apart from all this stuff and really center yourself so that you don't fall into those traps and you can be as unbiased as possible or as healed as possible.
Because a lot of that is excuse. A lot of people, for me, and what I say is that they're using mental health as an excuse to escape what they have saying I'm stuck in my way. For people who over 50 who've been single for a long time, divorced and single for a long time, I feel like you become stuck in your way. And then you want this person, but you don't want to give up a lot of what you have learned to endure in your life as a single person. So to have someone come in your life as a partner and having to share that is like, you know what? I want you, but I want to stay who I am as a single person, but I want you. But I still don't. And then, yes. And then you're using it as, well, I'm just having a mental health moment. And I think you have to digest that and say, is this really truly a mental health moment, or you just being stuck in your way?
I mean, and a lot of people use it both ways. But not, I would just say because like I was talking to Dr. Tony the other day, and I said, yeah, loneliness is considered a mental health issue now because it causes anxiety, depression, blah blah blah. And it's like we don't think of it like that though. And because it's a lot of lonely people out here, and they don't know staying inside the house creates this stigma. You know what I mean? So and it's tough. So a lot of time when we respond to people and we just meet people and we want consistency, maybe we're a little bit too aggressive. Maybe you need to get to know me and see how I flow to create some consistency on how we should do this. Because if you desperate and if you dating in desperation for intimacy, lack of physical touch, lack of emotional need, you greedy.
Yeah.
And I think also you need to stop dating people the same way. Everybody you date don't need that order.
Thank you, sis. Appreciate you.
Everybody don't need that order. Sometimes you meet somebody, like when I met Keith, it went different. It went quick, it went fast. It was different. It was unfamiliar dating. I didn't date the same way. I don't date people the same way. Some people want to have all these bullet points of how you got to check off all these things in this order, this way. This is what I'm looking for. If you fall one thing off, you're not the person for me. And you could have just missed out on your wife or your husband.
In other words, it just took that one moment and she had to have me.
That's it. That was fact.
Had to have me.
I'm gonna say this and shut up. Hey, Mika, you just said what I've been saying for the last 2-3 months. The right person is different. The situation is gonna be different. The feelings gonna be different. So if you meet people and you doing the same thing you used to do, and
you're gonna get the same results.
How can you get something?
Which is the definition of insanity.
Well, it's insane to think it's going to be different.
Exactly.
It's not the same to do it, but it's the same to kind of, you got to sit back and see what, because we deal in hope a lot. So we hope people become who we want them to be. But no, hey, thank you for saying that, because that special person, that right person, shouldn't be like the last 20 guys.
Exactly. I hope it went 20.
All right. Well, okay, 12. I'm
Let
going to be
me say
quiet.
this.
I'm going to be quiet.
Let me say
Uh-oh.
this.
Uh-oh.
Vicky, you said, you asked the question about people over 50 not having any issues. Like, we all got issues, we all got something. And so I just wanted to piggyback off of what Little Keith said. Sorry. The
Give me
younger,
space. I'm comfortable in who I am.
Right. Fact.
life happens to us all, right? Life be life and we got to deal with it. But the key is, because I don't want people to walk around and just thinking that, oh, well, this must be a mental health issue, right? And then they start using it as an excuse, like Mika was talking about. But the key is, yeah, life is going to happen, but just don't stay there too long.
Exactly.
Wherever you're at, just don't stay there too long. And because too much of anything is going to mess you up, right? I don't care what it is. Too much of it is going to mess you up. So, when you're in the house too long, yeah, you're going to end up dealing with some issues that you didn't, think that you were going to have going on, because then you just stuck with yourself, your own thoughts, and
Yep.
then we start lying to ourselves and start believing the lies we tell ourselves and all kind of stuff. And so you got to be careful to not sit in that space too long.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I agree. That is good.
Yes, coach.
Okay, we're going to go on to the second one. The next thing we're talking about is communication. Are we really bad at communicating, or are we just afraid of being vulnerable and misunderstood?
Really bad.
I think it's both. I think it depends on the person. I think it can be both. I think someone can have bad communication skills, and they can have really both, one or the other. You know what I'm saying? I think it can be a person with bad communication skills, and they're afraid of, if I communicate and I'm not communicating properly, or if someone not communicating with me properly, then it's going to show vulnerability, or I'm going to have to cater their vulnerability, and all this in between stuff. And then I feel like there's some people who just have bad communication skills. And it started at home. Remember, the first thing we're taught is from our home. So if you never saw someone, just like I saw this post from someone who was talking about, they allow their kids to see some of their disagreements because they want them to grow up and understand how to resolve disagreements. And a lot of times when adults disagree, sometimes what the parents send the kids on, they don't want them to see that. Not that the kids should see every argument, right, or every disagreement. But if you're working through it and it's a healthy disagreement, then why can't the kids see that? Because it teaches them how to communicate. And I think that starts from childhood and growing up to where we learn not to communicate effectively. Or that rule when we were growing up, children should be seen and not heard. I hate that rule because I think children should be able to express themselves, because this is teaching us how to communicate in our adulthood as well. So I think people can have a mixture of both. I think as an adult, we have more vulnerability than people really let on to know. And they're like, no, I'm not vulnerable. I'm not vulnerable. I'm not, and people look at vulnerability as being weak versus trying to work on their communication skills and allowing themselves to be vulnerable and say, keep vulnerable with me all the time. So,
I believe you.
he's vulnerable with me all the time.
You see that bully, Dr. Tony? That's why I'm vulnerable. She said, "You're not." No. Yes, you are. Yes, I am. I got. Well, she scared me.
He
So
is. He a lot. But you have to create, and I think we mentioned this before, a long time ago when we used to do podcasts together. That you have to create, especially for women with men, create that safe place for them to be vulnerable. Women, we're able to express ourselves, and that's why most men call us emotional, because for us, we do express ourselves a lot. We go to our girlfriends, we can say it on live, we can do it anywhere, right? But for men, when a man is being vulnerable or expressing themselves and saying how they truly feel, sometimes we don't give them that safe place, so their communication seems bad because they're trying to tiptoe around expressing themselves without seeming vulnerable, so it can appear to be bad.
Yeah. So let me just add this real quick. A lot of times, right, when you're dealing with communication, yes, there's some people that are just horrible communicators, but also a lot of times we just speak a different language. And what I mean by that, especially with this social media and and such, like me, I'm from Texas, right? I'll say a word, and because she's from Georgia or North Carolina or whatever, she's gonna absorb that word differently. And instead of asking for clarification, she's just gonna take it and run with it, right? And I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I said wrong, but it's simply because the interpretation was just totally different. So in that space, we have to get into a habit of asking to make sure that we're understanding the phrases correctly instead of just assuming that it's just bad communication, bad communication. I've had a couple experiences where things were taken in a way that I did not mean, you know, and instead of having a space to clarify, to get an understanding, now we're in a blown out disagreement because of the way one word was interpreted in the phrase. So we got to be mindful of that as well. Social media makes the world small. We
Mhm.
meet people everywhere. And just because we're both speaking English does not mean we're speaking the same language.
That's true. I love that.
Yeah. I think I wanted to piggyback off of what Mika said. Like, well, I'll say this first. Sometimes people believe, everyone believes, or they'll say that I'm an effective communicator,
Hmm.
right? And I need my person to be an effective communicator. The reality with communication is that your communication is only as good as the person you're communicating with. So when we might be effective in communication in one relationship,
Yep.
but then when we get into a whole nother relationship, that style of communication and conversation is completely different in this other relationship. And so you may be horrible at communication. So no one is I'm just an effective communicator
Right.
in relationships. Impossible. It's based on the environment in which you're in that determines how well you communicate.
Yep.
And so, like Mika said, the piggyback part is if I get into a relationship and let's say Mika is striving to communicate, but I'm not, I don't hold a safe space for her to communicate. Every time she talks, I shut her down. Every time I don't give her an opportunity to express herself because of the issues that we have together. Then in this situation, I'm not an effective communicator. And it always depends on, it's not a character trait that you have. It depends on the ability to communicate within the relationship that you're in.
Not only that, Keith, people, if you're in the right situation, of course you can communicate well, but let your emotions get involved, right? Let it become a heart issue. Let it be somebody messing with your babies. Then how effective are you? You're only, in my opinion, a great communicator if you can handle your emotions and communicate at the same time. When you don't allow your emotions to overtake your ability to communicate, that's when you're a good communicator. Not just when everything is good. Like we all know how to act when we don't have no issues, but then have an issue and see how you act.
That's
And
that
that's
tone
true.
place.
Because you know what? I am that person who cannot communicate if my emotion is all the way up here.
I didn't say it. I didn't
They,
say it.
and I'm like that at work, and I know. So when someone tick me off, like you gonna get it. You gonna get the full, and I have to. Yes, you gonna get all the words, everything that's on my mind, what I felt about you last year, the year before last, and everything else. You
So
gonna get it.
you're gonna dig stuff up.
Oh yeah, and people don't think that like because typically I can communicate good, I can, but once I'm in my emotion and you have taken me from 0 to 1,000, baby, you gonna get every bit of it. I literally have to walk away, go to my office, shut the door, cut the gospel music on, cut the waterfall thing. I had a whole process to get me back down to 0 so that I can communicate. And it takes a lot to get me there, but once I'm there, I'm there. So I have to recognize that.
But the key is that you know what to do when that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
Yeah,
people
what's that person's name, Mika? Who's that person that do all that? Who's that person that can't control her emotions? What's her name?
Or her. So So people call me Mika, and my real name is For Mika. I be like, do you want Mika or For
It's for
Mika?
me,
Because For
right,
Mika
right,
is the ghetto, is the
right.
is the hood chick. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now Mika, that's the.
Oh, that's the
I'm the
that's the
same way. Like,
corporate
do you
chick.
want Keisha or
Right?
Keith?
He talking about that's me. Hush.
So this is the thing, right? So now we were starting to talk about the ability to self-regulate your emotions, because in that base of this is also a part of emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Being able to self-regulate when situations appear to want to get chaotic. You know, now I understand sometimes it's a logical choice to show you this other person because you want to meet them, but when it controls you to where now you're totally acting out of character. And
Right.
I don't want to get too far because she mentioned the emotional intelligence aspect, but we're kind of tapping into it right now. Also having the ability to self-regulate your emotions.
But DJ, I think that everybody needs to know that Formika exists.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But it's a choice. So
But
that
they need to know.
no, Dr. Tony, everybody
Yes.
does not need to know.
And some people do. At your job, let me tell you, I'm in a leadership role, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm in
No.
a leadership role, and I'm gonna explain to you why I agree with Dr. Tony, because I'm in a leadership role, and I'm the only black person that sit in my leadership. And because I'm the only black person that sit in my leadership, a lot of times they take me, so I have to go to work. Everybody else can come to work and have a tantrum and break down and do all this stuff because they're not black and they're not a woman. But because if I come with any aggression, anything, then it's like, first of all, it's taken out of character. Or if I come and I'm always the yes person, then they feel like they can run over me. So I have to give them a little bit of in between of both. Like, don't think you can come and run over me, and don't think that you can't get these words either, and don't think I'm not professional, because I am professional. But baby, don't take me for no food.
I agree, but what I was saying is understanding that you have a choice in how you respond. So you're still in control. It's a choice. So not saying that they don't need to meet for Mika, but it's a logical choice and getting out to the point to where now if you're having those lashes out and you're like not remembering or backing out, whatever you want to call it. That was the point I was making. Not that
Okay.
to meet
Okay.
that person, Dr.
So DJ, she was ready. Dukes
She
was up.
was.
What's
She
up,
ready to
right?
do.
Love it. I love it, Keith.
Yeah.
Boy, you're in trouble.
No, I ain't, because the way she is and what D is talking about is that's me, right? And so I'm not highly emotional, and I think what it does for us is it brings a good balance.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people will think that, like, if you have a woman who expresses her emotions, such as Mika, and a man that does not, a lot of times you'll hear women say, he don't know how to express his emotions. But in reality, my rationale and her emotion is meant to balance it out. And it's not that I don't have emotion or I can't have emotion. It's just that when she gets real high in hers, you know what I mean, my touch or my look may calm her down. At least that's my thought.
It does.
And then
That's my guy.
so, but when I go quiet or silent, when I'm dealing with something, her emotional self will allow me to express myself in a safe place and balances it out. And that's what it's meant for. It's not that we don't communicate our emotions. It's just that we don't communicate our emotions when the place where it's not safe.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I love it, man.
So and so for her, she go rah rah, like she go there from 0 to 10. But it's not a place for me to go 0 to 10. It's a place for me to stay right where I'm supposed to be, and it helps to bring her down. And so,
But I call him at work when they make me, and typically it's at work, and I use work because it's not like that too. We don't get like that here.
can you tell who work a lot?
But when I'm at work and I get like that, he is my safe place. I go and call him. I cut that radio. I cut all those things on, and he like, babe. Or if I text him like, babe, they're pissing me off. Like he'll call me like, well, he'll take time to call me and calm me down. And just about talking about it with him and letting me get it out is a way to help me. So. Cause it's just a doggy dog world out here, especially when you being the only black person on your leadership board. I'm sorry, it is.
I got a question for y'all though. Keith, the fact that you was able to understand her emotional side, did that actually draw you to her?
Um, no, because in the beginning, I didn't see this emotional side.
Got you.
But it's my understanding that first of all, I love black women, right? Let me put that out there, right?
Facts.
And
Hey, T.
and a lot of times our women are expressive, which can look like high emotion, right? And so me knowing that, I already know what comes with the territory.
I
You
got
know
you.
what I mean? And so I hate when people when we don't like our women because we think that there's an issue or there's a problem with them. No, we just don't know how to deal with them, right? And so our ability to love them is based on our own emotional intelligence and our ability to rationalize within ourselves. That's what it helps us to do it. Men who can't do that, struggle with emotional
Yeah.
intelligence.
But
So
look, I'm gonna put a Mika right quick though. That don't mean y'all can just go off like y'all want to.
AK, so
say,
that's what they call passion, bro.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right,
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm not saying that we can, but I think sometimes, like what Keith said, when what you think is going off is not sometimes us going off. It's just us expressing ourselves because so often, even for men, you know what I'm saying, but people of color, we have not had that opportunity, or even growing up, you don't have that opportunity to express yourself. So when you learn to express yourself and you learn, because I grew up in a household just like that, that we could not express ourselves. So when I learned to express myself, it come out as passionate because I'm trying to get it all out. And sometimes I have to just be wheeled back. And I think it takes a special man, a person, to be able to see that and not take that as, oh, she just being aggressive, an angry black woman, and see that we're just passionate about what we're trying to express. And if you are that man, if you are that person, you will know how to take her back and say, you know what, baby girl, you know what, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Make her feel heard, because sometimes that's what it is. It's just feeling heard.
and for
And
us, not taking it personal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
Right.
before I saw this, it was already in her, right? Like the things that she's passionate about didn't start with me.
Man.
And so it's just being able to maintain my ground, not being a pushover, but being able to be able to say, I see what you're saying, babe, but I think you need to look at it like
yeah.
this, or hey, babe, I think you're wrong in this area. But being able to say you're wrong without challenging that emotion to go to another level,
Exactly.
is I think is key.
Well, I ain't gonna
Hey,
touch that one. I'm gonna just be quiet.
but I'm saying this, man. DJ Keith just set brother back 20 years because now some woman gonna go to her man thinking he has the emotional intelligence of Keith.
I'm gonna point to Keith. I'm not
When
touching
Keith
you.
said I can go off and it's gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Ladies, everybody
I
ain't
set
gonna
him
be
back.
No,
touching
I
it.
set him back 20 years.
20 years, bro. 20 years.
I'm not saying that that woman should go back. And I think sometimes we have to look, because I have to look at it, and I even tell Keith, let me process this. Because for me, I have to know when to step back in the process so I can communicate it without aggression. And sometimes I just need to let it out.
Right.
So for me, and he knows, I'm like, I need time to process this. Like, because then once he tell me what he said, like what he has to say about it, and then I may not want to hear it because at that time I'm too passionate about it. I'll be like, you know what? Let me just process this, and then I can process: is this really me and my emotion? Was he
Hold on.
what he was
Wait,
saying was
wait,
accurate?
wait. Let
Do
me
I need to go? How do I need to handle this? You know what I'm saying? So
That's something she
earlier.
does on a regular basis.
Earlier, when K Short was talking about processing, you were saying sometimes it's an excuse to check out of the moment, but
no, hold on, because that ain't what.
Look at the finger.
Well, I see it. I
Let's
see
peel
it.
this back, baby. Because if you're gonna come for me, I'm gonna deliver.
I'm not coming
So
for
what
you.
I was
I'm just
saying
picking. I'm just
was
picking.
that you cannot use every time he felt like he had a mental health moment to say, I need a moment to process this. Now, in the midst of a conversation, which if you read a book called Crucial Conversation, it tells you when the stakes are high and the communications are high and it is a heated conversation, you need to wheel back and take a moment to process so that you can have effective communication. I was not saying that you cannot have a moment to process your thoughts if you're in a heated conversation, but you cannot use mental health every time you are having a moment to take a break from that. That is not processing. That is excusing yourself from a situation because now you just want to use that every time you having a mental health moment and you need to be able to lean on your partner. But if the conversation is heated and the stakes are high and you know you about to say some things that may land you to a situation and you can't take no word back, process it.
Hey, Keith, I like her, man.
Me too.
Amen. For clarification.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. I'm sorry, LJ. Go ahead, LJ.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so how do we create space to communicate and feel safe?
DJ?
How do we create space to communicate and be safe?
Feel safe.
And feel safe. It's about knowing your person. Like, you have to, it's going to look different in situations. So pay attention to your person so you will know, as Mika so passionately expressed, when it's genuine, when that person is not trying to just have any excuse to tap out of the conversation. So just pay attention to what's going on. A lot of times that communication is not what's verbally expressed, but if you pay attention to patterns, to body language, right, it tells you a whole lot. If you're paying attention to how K Short is sitting, how he's holding his hands, how his legs are positioned, it expresses what the words may not necessarily give you the understanding. So you have to know your person. You have to be literally in the moment, right? And so that's a good starting place, I would say.
I love that. Know your person.
I think we create a safe place by allowing, and pretty much what DJ said, by allowing that person to be authentic and to express whatever they feel, however they feel it, and then not using that as a weapon.
Yeah.
And so when you allow a person to be authentic and express themselves, if it's anger or frustration, or if they just start cussing like a sailor, whatever it is, allow them to be able to get that out in that place, and then just not use it against them. Don't take that opportunity to right fight. Don't take that opportunity to do anything, but allow that person to be and allow them to express themselves authentically. Not the way we want to hear it, but the way they want to give it. And the more we allow that to happen, they know that that space with you is a no judgment zone. That space with you is a place where they can go and just be. They don't have to do anything or be a certain way. They can just go and just be, and they feel safe that way.
But Dr. Tony, what happens when this is a question for anybody, but I said Dr. Tony because like that sounded like I was real intelligent.
Exactly.
But Dr. Tony, what happens when your expression of you being able to express yourself and me giving that space creates or challenges my insecurities? And so now when you challenge my insecurities, I feel like now I have to defend myself. And you expressing yourself, you're communicating things I didn't say. You talking to me, you're triggering me, making me believe that like what you're saying is how my mom used to talk to me in a way that wasn't good. Like how do I stay in this safe space when you're challenging my insecurities?
So watch this though, Keith. Here's what people do, just real quick.
No, you're fine.
Stop making everything about you. Now, a lot of times when she comes home from work and she's quiet, a lot of people right be like, dang, is it me? Like, why is she mad at me? So we have to have a high level of self-awareness to be aware that it's not about me.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tony. Go ahead.
I would say, what's your motive at the moment? What is your motive at the moment? Is your motive to create that same place, that safe place, or is your motive to defend yourself? We gotta be able, we gotta at some point submit to each other, right? Somebody gotta say, you know what, let me give him this right now. Let me give him this right now. So I gotta digress. And then at another, and timing is everything. There may be a time when you're able to say, baby, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. This challenged me. That triggered me. But I also understand that my triggers are my problem, not his.
Yeah.
So my motive at the moment is to create a safe place. That's what I'm working on. I'm working on creating a safe place for you to be able to release yourself. So I'm not thinking about, as DJ said, I'm not making it about me. Because if I'm making it about me, then it ain't about your safe place anymore. And then we've gotten nowhere.
Mm.
And so
So
remember what your motive is at the moment.
yeah, yeah.
Hey y'all,
Like that.
whenever Dr. Tony get passionate and she start preaching, her W's and her S's have like emphasis on it. She be saying them W's and S's hard.
Hard.
But she get passionate
She be
like
preaching.
wuss.
Well, I mean, yeah,
That was good to me. That was
dude,
really, really good to me. That was
it was
good to
good,
me.
You're
Dr.
so
Tony. I
stupid.
agree.
That's
So,
good. That's good.
so DJ, would you agree that no better way to find out what a safe space looks like for that person than asking them, like, what is it that what is it that I can do or that I'm not doing that would make you feel more safe? Would you say that's a good idea, or should we just be trying to figure it out?
That's definitely an aspect of it. It's going to look different based on the conversation, though. Like just because you may ask me that today in the headspace I'm in, the type of conversation, then it's going to be different as opposed to if we're having a conversation about sex or something like that. Like it's just going to look different.
So it
Yeah,
changes. Is what you're
yeah,
saying? It changes. It's evolving.
absolutely. Because depending on the level of comfort, the level of trauma that an individual is holding in, then that safe space was going to be needed. Because if you're waving your arms around in a passionate conversation and he was raised in a violent household and he's going to recluse, right? But now, if there's a situation to where he's comfortable expressing himself, then it'll be just fine. But I would definitely say it's not a bad idea to ask that question, but the answer is going to be different in certain situations.
Yeah.
Can I say this about that though, DJ?
Yeah, man.
Because if for me, I'm speaking for Keith. If I want to let you in, like that to me, that's not an acting place for me. That's a developed place for me.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
So
asked that.
people ask me, and I hear them, and I'll take it. I know that they want to be that safe place for me, but I still have to trust you enough to let you in because I guard my chest muscle. So, and like some people don't guard their chest muscle. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a different way that how we all protect ourselves. Because I protect this. You can have everything else, but you can't get this. This ain't free. I'm just
So would
saying.
you, so would you say consistency and chemistry are going to ultimately lead to the you being comfortable to open up to the person?
Well, we use consistency like it's positive. Consistency isn't a positive term. It can be either way. I can consistently do wrong. That's still consistency. So I don't. I think the way you make me feel, the way I receive you, and what I view, and how I view you for me. Because you know what I mean. Like I said, I can like you when I meet you and get to know you 60 days later and realize I really don't want to see this go further.
Yeah.
That's just Keith. That's just Keith. Dang, y'all got quiet on that one, huh?
I'm trying to see if she's about to ask another question or where we
Oh,
going.
yeah, that's where we're going to another question. So we're talking. Next thing we're talking about is chemistry. How do we know if it's real or if it's a trauma bond?
If you're in trauma, you got trauma.
I would say you have to look at your like. Are you dating because your purpose behind your dating, and is this, are you broken? What does your healing look like? Have you taken the time to truly heal, or are you looking for someone to mend your wounds? Because if you're looking for someone to mend wounds, then you're trauma bonding. You're connecting based off the fact of whatever that is. Like, and I can't say it's always trauma bonding. Maybe your loneliness, or maybe you're, wanting just somebody there, or maybe you just, whatever. But true chemistry is something you don't force. It's not something you can't force chemistry. You can't force connections. You can try all day long, but you really cannot. It can look like it's gonna go well. It can feel like it's gonna go well, but at some point in between that relationship, it's going to sink. Something's gonna come out, and you're gonna realize that this. And I have seen couples. I have friends. I'm gonna put it like this. I have friends in relationships that should not still be together and been together for well, I'm old now, so like 30 years, and I'm like, y'all still together? Like at this point, it's just comfortability now because you're just comfortable with each other. But the chemistry was never there. I'm like, girl, you know what I'm saying? But they stayed together because now they got kids involved, and they got, all these other things involved. But they forced a chemistry that was not there, and they're still in a bad relationship. So chemistry to me, when I see an old person, like I work in healthcare, and I tell you, I have these old couples that come in, and the love that they have for each other, how that wife or that husband tells stories and remember things from years ago about their first date, about their first kiss, about, and still call her beautiful, or she call him handsome. Like, like that. That is, to me, is a true love story, a true chemistry connected couple, versus someone who I see come in, like I have couples that come in, like, I can't stand that son of a da 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 da. I wish he just died already. I mean, unalive already. Sorry what I'm saying, but they do say these things, and I'm like, Lord, y'all probably should have never been together from the beginning, But I think people, you can't force chemistry. That's just, I feel like you can't. I feel like it's either real and it's either true, and you can try your best to, but at some point, it's gonna lead to nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna throw this thought out there to kind of challenge the word a little bit. But I'm sitting here thinking most relationships, or a lot of relationships, come together because of that word trauma bond, right? And they come together, and it's not necessarily bad that you have maybe childhood likenesses, or
Right.
things that have gone on in your life, right? My traumas and your traumas that have brought us together. It doesn't become bad, and it can create this chemistry. But that trauma bond doesn't become bad until it's used in the relationship in a way that where there's no healing or no process of healing. So I may have been hurt in a divorce, and you may have been hurt in a divorce, and our conversation about that brings us close together. But if we stay in that hurt space, then that trauma bond becomes codependency, right? Instead of that trauma bonding, like, okay, we understand what brought us together, but what's going to keep us here is our commitment and our consistency to move forward. And when there's no movement and no consistency to move forward, and nothing that is where you guys are working on that and healing together, then it becomes codependent, and that's where it becomes a failure.
Right.
So chemistry and trauma bonding in the initial phases of a relationship sometimes is the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on, because a lot of times, like in that space of what people are calling trauma bonding, it's actually inaccurate, right? But because if there's a likeness in certain traumas that we've dealt with growing up, and we kind of connect in that space, but a real life trauma bond, it's an abusive situation. Like, it's manipulative, it's controlling. Like, when you get to the understanding of what a trauma bond is, a lot of times those situations get violent, right? So in that space, it's definitely unhealthy. But in the aspect that we're speaking of right now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a relative thing. It's something that we know that we've been through, so we can be mindful in this space, not to harm each other any further, and such.
Yeah.
Got you. And I'll tell you something, man, that we don't talk about is timing. We can have chemistry because we met, but the timing could be off for one of us. I could just be going through something, just come out of a bad relationship. You know what I mean? It could be just so like I am very busy, so we can connect because of what we found in each other, but still don't make it the right time for the relationship.
Mika, I want to do a follow up on something that you were saying when you were giving the example of your friends who've been together and they should have never been together. So, can
Yes.
chemistry develop, become healthy over time, or is it either right or wrong from the beginning?
I just feel like it's either right or wrong from the beginning. I just don't think you can force chemistry. I
Mhm.
don't. I think people end up stuck together, and I even use my parents too. Like I think their chemistry was out. I feel like my daddy thought he was gonna be my mama's savior, and realized that she was more than he can bite off, and then he ended up 4 children later. You know what I'm saying? They stuck. So I just feel like it's right or wrong from the beginning. Like that's just me. It's not, and people can see the wrong, but the right just feels so good.
Right.
Mm.
And Mika too, our community think because people have years that they're happy.
Right.
I think you said it before. It could be just a comfortable situation that
Yeah.
and I know couples that don't even sleep in the same room for 15, 20 years. But
Well, what
then
kind of relationship is that?
I can't even speak on it. But what I do know is when we hear it in the community, oh, they've been together 22 years, we automatically assume goodness,
Yeah.
greatness, and
Right.
that's just not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the first question we ask couples? What's the key to lasting so long?
Right.
Like, right, right,
Separate
like,
rooms.
right. We don't sleep in separate, and we don't stay in the same room. We don't talk at all. We ain't had sex in 32 years.
I
Like,
ain't got reason to leave. You know what I mean? I can do
right,
what I want to
right,
do.
right,
I just
right.
refuse to leave.
Longevity doesn't equate healthy,
No,
Exactly.
definitely not.
based on what you said, Kay. That's so true.
It doesn't. I agree.
Hey, I made a point. G, give me a star because I'm here with all these
There
intelligent
you
people.
go. There you go.
Hook him
You get
up.
you get you get a red star.
Yay, yay.
Does anyone else want to say anything different than what Mika was saying regarding whether the chemistry can change over time? Does anyone else? Does everyone agree with what she's saying?
Ask that question again. I got
Okay, can
sidetracked.
chemistry become healthy over time, or is it either right or wrong from the start?
Can chemistry become healthy over time? Is it? Well, people are constantly changing and evolving, so the chemistry could change and evolve. If you're not mindful in that space, the chemistry could cease to exist, or the chemistry could grow stronger. It just depends on what you both are pouring into each other.
But I'm about to contradict myself. I
Yeah.
agree. I think like Mika think on that. I think if it's bad, if it's wrong, no matter how long you stay, it's wrong. I cannot, but I have to say anything's possible.
Yeah. Anything is possible, but I just don't, I see that people, I don't see the chemistry growing. For me, what I see is people becoming comfortable, people becoming in situations that cause for them to have to make it work.
Relatable.
You know what I'm saying? And now they have something they have something in common. They have children. They have families connected. And so it looks like the chemistry is working, but it's more so y'all have created this situation that is kind of hard for people to leave versus when you see true couples who are really just happy and genuine in their relationship, that chemistry was just there. You can sense it, you can see it. It's not something that's being, when you don't see, like if me and Keith get 5, 10 years in and he don't want to hug me or hold me or do the same thing he did when we first started, that's gonna concern me. Like I want that chemistry should never break, regardless of how long we together or what situation we have. It should always be that fact that he ain't going to sleep in no other bed. We gonna always sleep together. When he go to the nursing home, now when he go to the nursing home, because he older than me, so then
I'm
he
not
gonna
gonna
have
pee
to.
on your leg. Uh,
I mean, I
no,
get what you're
Nowhere.
saying.
but the reality is, the longer you're together, life experiences, like I think Keith, you mentioned it earlier. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Life experiences change us, right? And so in that change, oftentimes chemistry can also change, right? And so as life changes, our ability to work to maintain that chemistry is key. And so, you know, a lot of times people, what brought you together is not what keeps you together, like I said earlier. And even if it's chemistry in the beginning, you know, 20 years down the line, you know, you got to continue to work on that chemistry or you're going to lose each other.
Man, keep and that recreation of the chemistry or that adaptation to it, that's what keeps that bond constantly growing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly whatever you pour into. You got to be mindful.
So true. So true.
But y'all got me feeling out.
Okay, so we're going to go on. Can we really have all three of these: consistency, communication, and chemistry at the same time?
We seeing it right here.
Absolutely.
Well, let me say this, K Short. We talk good when we get on this screen, but when we get off this screen, we working at it.
Right. And right. And here's the deal. I'm not saying it's without work or without, but
Yeah.
see, Keith, you just said the whole key though, man. You working on it. You choosing to do it. You choosing to listen, babe, this is what we need to work on because I know you the man of your house, dog. You know what I'm saying? I know. You know what I'm saying? All right, man, calm down. All right. But no, but see, though, man, you say the key. See, a lot of people like to talk smack about relationship. The truth of the matter is if two people want the same thing, it can work.
Yeah.
One person pulling, and that would be waves, but if two people want the same thing, anything can be worked out. It's really just that simple, but most relationships, that one person's pulling, the other person's going the other way.
So true. So true. So key. That's so key. So I think all three of them, to answer the question, go is possible at the same time. But what Short said, like there are waves, right? And there's times when my consistency off and your communication is off, and so when those times hit, it's about us being intentional and saying, hey, something's off. Let's reset. Let's do something to focus on it. And this is the thing that knocks it off most of the time. We get so, and I talk about this all the time, we get so focused on relationship business or marriage business that we forget the relationship part of marriage. And so it's key for us to focus on the relationship because nothing else works effectively without it. You know, people go a whole marriage. You know, you go 18 years of being consistent. Of being consistent when it comes to business. Your schedule's on point. The kids get to where they got to get. The bills are paid on time. You have a nice home. You do all this stuff. You go to work every day, and there's been nothing growing in the relationship. It's just the business of marriage.
Day-to-day
And
operation.
when the kids get grown and leave the house, and you like, who the hell are you? I don't even know who you are. Because we focus on the day-to-day operations and not necessarily the relationship. And so it's important to focus on that relationship because them kids are gonna leave you. You know what I mean? And if our focus is solely on the kids, they're gonna drive us crazy. And when the kids leave, I'm pushing her around in a wheelchair because she done lost her mind messing with kids. And now we don't have an effective relationship no more because the kids done drove us crazy. But that's our fault because we focus solely on the kids and not just the relationship.
You know what,
You
though?
living in the house with a stranger.
Yeah.
You still like her. See, if I still like you, I can put up with you.
Yeah.
Once I stop liking you, once that nucleus leave us, we got problems.
We got problems.
Because I really didn't like you anyway. I just stayed because of my kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and people so caught up in the words of relationships and love, gotta like you, man.
Gotta like it.
You know when I realized I didn't like somebody is when we were on a cruise. Boy, if you like somebody, go on a cruise. You in that sucker
down the ocean.
Go on a 5-day cruise where you can't get away from that person. And you will know if I really like how this person vibe with me, because if not, you're going to start going on the other side of the ship. You know, I'm going to people Kino, you're going to get a wax. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a break from you. And that's when I realized I didn't like my ex. Or I realized that we had changed, we had shifted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I'm going to casino. She said, well, I'm going to sleep. But
I,
it's, you know, it was mutual.
Right.
I have to agree with Keith about that, about when the kids
Which
get
Keith?
older. This Keith,
Okay.
my baby Keith. And so, but you too, but I have to agree with him. I feel like we have to be intentional, and if you are really connected to your person, like for me, I want to see him happy, and I want to see him in a good place. But I want him to know that I remember him, even not just being a good father figure to Jada, or just being a good, provider in the household. Like, I want to date you, like just me and you, like not talking about household things or talking about finances or talking about the kids. Like, I want you to know, like, I want to date you. And we did go through a period where it was like, what, 2 months straight that we didn't have date night, and we felt it. Like, we felt like that connection that we had was kind of like, hey, we just go to work, come home, take care of the kids, get in bed. And it's like, I didn't like that. And I was like, we need date night. So then we started having date night. We had them like back to back to back. But it did make me feel like we was back, like, me getting dressed up and sexy for him, and him looking good and smelling good. And, it keep.
Okay, short. Just
My
hear the
bad,
story.
bro. My bad. You know I love you, man.
Just listen to the story.
You know I love you, man.
But he made me so sick.
Now, hey,
But
nonverbal communication right there.
But we did date night. Even like, and sometimes people think date night is just getting up, going, getting dressed, and going out. But it's sometimes just taking that intimate moment to where you just shut down the household, and you just shut down everything, and you just in tune to each other. Just remember why, because the reason why all of this exists is, us having our family and friends and connection is because of the chemistry that we built together. And so we have to remember we brought this together, like, so we have to keep that going. And I think some people don't do that. They don't keep it going. If you don't, then you're gonna lose everything that came with that you built with it.
Yep, I agree with that one.
So is it timing, healing, or alignment that allows all three to coexist in terms of the communication, the and the consistency and the chemistry?
I don't think there's no blueprint answer
Yeah.
because each relationship is based on different foundations, so there can't be a blueprint all the time on. Timing might be great, it might not. You see what I'm saying? Like that, I don't think, and I think people want. I think we want relationships so much that we want a concrete, black and white. These are the
Yeah.
steps. When all the steps are just a guide, and then you take your personality and your relationship's personality, and then you circumvent the guide.
And also, let's talk about the healing because you said timing, healing, or alignment, right? So that healing, depending on where that person is, man, that can be a tough ride. Like it can be tough for someone to stay around while you're in that space of healing, depending on where you began. If I mean, there's certain levels that are more severe than others, so that's going to play a major factor as well.
So do you don't think that you need both parties need to come in whole? You feel like they can work on it while they're in the relationship?
I think both parties need to be true to themselves and be honest. If they agree to go through that process, then, like Dr. Tony says so eloquently, be committed to her commitment or his commitment, um, or gracefully bow out.
Yeah. Well, I think that was well put. I think a lot of times when we get into relationships or the social conversation is, I want my person to be healed, right? I want my person to be whole when they come in. Well, you got a whole person, no matter what, no matter what's on the inside, you got a whole person regardless.
Right,
One,
right.
two, I think the issues that we may have, it may not be triggered until we're in that relationship, and so it's our ability to work on them together that creates the environment that where it's safe and healing takes place. So we're never fully healed. I don't believe. I think we're always in the process, And my desire to be better sometimes is challenged by by her desire to expect more out of me. So now I'm guarded. Now I'm a little, I'm a little angry. I'm a little tense. I'm a little frustrated. But it's my ability to say, or it's my responsibility to say, you know what? Is she coming against me or does she love me? Right? If she's coming against me, now we're on different teams and we fighting. But and that shouldn't be the case. But if she loves me, then this is good for me, right? This is good for us. This is for the betterment. And sometimes being better is challenged in your relationships, and we don't like that. We struggle with that.
I gotta say, I think healing for me comes at different. You can stay in the camera.
No, I am. I just need to move back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Uh, sorry. But I think healing, when you talk about coming into a relationship, should a person be fully healed? I'm with Keith. No one's going to be fully healed. I think you have to look at your level of damage, your brokenness. Is your brokenness to the point where it can damage someone else? Meaning, like, if I get into this relationship, am I to the point where I need to really focus on trying to get some healing, I don't even want to say healing, like trying to be able to cope with what broke me enough to be in a relationship with someone else. Because if I carry this into the next relationship, how is this going to sit for me? You know what I say? Or with us? Because a lot of times, even since we're talking about relationships, if I left a abusive relationship and I go straight into another relationship, am I really ready to receive this relationship? And what am I doing to that person that I'm getting a relationship with? So I think you got to look at where you're at with what happened to you or what you're dealing with to see if you're ready to get into a relationship. I do not think that I'm with Keith. You're going to go into that relationship still with some broken little pieces. Your heart is never going to be whole like it was when you first came. You're going to have some little cracks, right? You're going to have some little leaks. And sometimes some things may trigger, and then that brokenness that you felt may spear out, come out, and you have to deal with that in that relationship, and your partner needs to be able to help you cope with that in that relationship safely. I do not think you need to give someone the baggage from another relationship, but I do think you need to be able to look at where you are at when you're dealing with a relationship or a breakup or a heartache or whatever it is, to see if you're able to get into this relationship and endure this relationship without causing harm to someone else.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let Dr. Tony speak because she ain't gonna interrupt. She don't just jump in and stuff like that. But I'm gonna agree with Keith though on one thing. We don't. A lot of times you won't know your healing process until you get into another relationship. A lot of times we take the isolation is punishment. A lot of times we don't date or we take the hiatuses 5 years, 10 years off, 8 years off. Then we use the word heal, but you don't know because you haven't tried yourself. You haven't been tested. Then when you get into these relationships after that, most times you expect that to be the one because you just waited 8 years and now you're ready. But then you start getting those same signs that you had in the last one. Next thing you know, I don't like the word triggered and healed, but you trigger and you realize like I'm really not over it because we can be over a person, but not over the damage that person left.
Can I say one thing about the isolation? I do agree with you about isolation can be a punishment, but I think isolation is also a moment of how you're using it.
Right. Facts.
Yeah, like how you're using your isolation. Like, are you isolating because you're afraid to get back in this relationship and you're afraid to do, you know what I'm saying? Or are you using this isolation to really, for me, and I would say I've been married, divorced, 18 years. I was young when I got married. Yes, young. So when I was and it took me a minute to get back to where I can say a serious. Now, did I date? Yes. Was I in serious relationship like what I'm in now? No. But I didn't take my isolation as a punishment because one, I did not want to give the power of that to my ex. He wasn't going. That's what I would have given him if I would have just excluded myself from the dating scene, excluded myself from certain things and living my life, like he would have still had power over me. And that was, I was not going to give him. But I did take my isolation as a time to focus on what kind of woman, not seeking the man, like trying to identify what I wanted in a man, but identifying what kind of woman I wanted to be to him. Because a lot of times people take the isolation and start saying, well, this is what I'm going to pray for in my man. This is what I want in my man. But you're not saying what you need to be to him.
Boy, you better say that.
So, all right. That's all I had to say. You can go, Dr. Tony.
I actually had nothing to add. I don't know why Keith said that, but I will say this: I'm listening to you all, and all of this is real good, and I'm putting myself in that place. I've been depressed up and down, dealing with grief, and so although I want a relationship, I have to be honest with where I'm at and understanding that my emotions are like all over the place.
Right.
I can be like today is like a good day, but like earlier, he got on my nerves. Like I was about to check him.
Who?
Because he got on my nerves. You.
Please.
Tell us about it. Let's hear it.
What
I
happened?
want to hear it too, Keith.
Look how he looking. Look how he looking.
That mouth, that mouth, that mouth. But anyway, I have to be honest with, where I'm at and saying, you know what? And I will say this, that even though my emotions are up and down and Keith got on my nerves today, he was able to like handle me correctly in my grief journey. So, all right, is that okay, Keith?
Yeah, because I saw that fuss. Get your tail up. Let's go. Let's get it.
Anyway, I think that we have to be honest about where we are.
Yeah.
Not just where somebody else is at, but where am I? Am I able, even though I'm on this up and down journey of grief, I am doing my best to be successfully single. Because I know that if I am a successful single, then I will be a successful married person. I can't be miserable single and then think I'm going to get with somebody and going to be happy. I'm going to be a miserable woman with a man.
Right.
Exactly.
So I
Explain that, though. What is successfully single? Because I must got a PhD in this thing.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't.
She said
Don't
you
even
in
do
last
that.
place, bro.
You
So what
don't.
DJ?
You don't.
She said you in last place. You're failing horribly.
I don't have this at all. When I talk about being successfully single, I mean being able to embrace the totality of your singleness. Embrace your the financial aspect of it. You're not running around here lonely, and you're doing what? You're living. You are living. A lot of times and this is another conversation, Keith, but a lot of times we don't handle the meantime well. We don't handle that time well. We just try to fill that space with somebody. And then we got to deal with all the things that we should have dealt with when we were single. So if we're successfully single, that means I'm embracing the totality of my singleness. That means, God, what do you want me to be doing in this season of my life? What do I need to be focused on? What areas do I need to dig up in me? What triggers? Again, triggers are my issues. They're not yours. So what triggers do I need to deal with so that I can be successful in a relationship?
And that goes, I like that because that go back to what I was saying about when I was single, how I took the time to focus on me. And so many times people take the time to focus on what kind of man that you don't even have. You've got this invisible man in your head that you don't build up, that you trying to have, that don't exist, but you are actually your true authentic self. Focus on all of your flaws. Focus on where you're trying to grow, your career, your mental, your emotional state, what kind of wife can you be to him? Because we dream up this man and we spent 18, if I spent 18 years dreaming up a man that I was never going to meet.
He would still look like me.
My dog.
I would still be single. But you have to take your singleness. When I think of being successfully single, is not focusing on what that woman need or what that man that you don't have need to give you. because you are only attracting this made up person that you get a bit and a glimpse of, and you see, ooh, they got a little bit of what I want. And then come to find out they are nothing of who you want, because this is, you're taking all of your singlehood and all of your time being single of gassing up this person that is not there. And then when you meet this person that got this much of it, you like, oh, that's my man, that's my woman. But focus on you. Focus on who can you be? What kind of wife? Who are you going to be? What are you going to provide? What are you going to give? What are you? Because once you meet that person, you already know if this person is not the person for you, because you know who you are now.
Right.
Keisha, I'm gonna bridge on something you said earlier about we might want this person and we don't think one time are we what that person's need. You know, a lot of people say if I can get with DJ, I'll be happy. I'll be happy. They're not thinking about, but what makes DJ happy? Can I make DJ happy? You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of these relationships just don't go anywhere, because it's a one-sided thought process. You know, if I get with Dr. Tony, I'll be happy. This is Dr. Tony. But what about that? Huh?
Yes, you would.
Oh no, man, they better run. Yo, they better come with their feet cemented in the ground, ready. You understand? They can't come. They can't come in a razzle dazzle, Dr. Tony. They got to come ready.
And can I say another? Can I say another thing with timing? Because I know Go Tell It asked about timing. I hear people all the time saying the time is not right. The time is not right. I'm just like, time never gonna be right.
All right, that's an excuse right there.
Time is never gonna be right. People sit around trying to get right. Oh, I gotta get my house. I gotta get my bank account up. And guess what? You go, you get in a car wreck, or you go and the economy crash, or you go and you lose your job. My thing is that if you just take what it is for what it is,
Right.
just move forward.
But now I was speaking of timing of I meet you, I want you, but I got 20,000 things going on and I can't devote to you.
Yeah.
It's an excuse, and again, it's an excuse.
Bull crap, that's life. We are I'm in my
listen,
50s. Hold up, soldier. I'm in my 50s, right? I got things I gotta handle now. A relationship that's not in my top 2 or 3.
But that
It's not.
Keith, listen. Sometimes
DJ, get your girl.
sometimes people are wanting to make talking about it's just timing, when really the only thing they need to do is make a decision. Okay. Sometimes it's a matter of just making a decision. Now we all got things going on.
Everybody don't have the same thing going on, Doc.
I didn't say we got the same
My
thing going
choices,
on. I said
and my choices what got me in the decision I'm in now. My choices.
But can I just say this right quick? Do you create 20 things on your list? Sometimes, and I'm gonna ask this, you create 20 things on your list and you're focusing on those 20 things that's preventing you from seeing. Now, if you're just not ready to date, just say that. I'm not ready to date. Because if you have 20 things on your list, yes, I'm talking to you. If you got 20 things on your list, and then you need to look at those 20 things and identify, why do I have 20 things on my list at 50 some years old? And what can I break down to not have
I made bad choices when I was 30.
Okay, but listen, that's 30. That's 20 years ago. So my thing is,
I'm still paying the credit cards off.
Okay, but so what? So what woman? What?
I'm
Why
just
do you?
joking. I'm just
Why?
joking.
Here we go.
Okay, let me get this
I mean,
out first. If you got 20 things on your list, and you are at this age, are you keeping those 20 things because it is your protective factor?
It could be.
Or because that's what it sounds like. Because it's and instead of you just saying, I'm not ready to date because I don't know if I can personally handle it, you use 20, I got 20, 50 things. Next thing you know, you're going to say you got 50, 60, 70. And you're never going to, your list is never going to get shorter.
Babe, I wonder if, like, I think it's different for a lot of people, right? 20 things on my list at age 20, at age 50 plus, comes with my level of responsibility to the world, right? My responsibility as a man, my responsibility on my job, my responsibility in my home, my responsibility in my business. all those 20 things is dependent on my place in the earth, and not necessarily because I'm using it as a way to mask, to protect, to hide behind. And so I believe that the 20 things on my list is so important, is more important, if I'm being honest, is more important than me putting someone in my life to interfere with that, because that is my focus. And that's okay. Like, it's okay for people to have that. But I think what we're talking about here is the ability to communicate, to say, you know what, young lady, I got a lot of things going on and I'm not in the place to put you there. I have 20 things going on in my life, and that's okay. And me not holding you in that list of 20 or in my top five says that I'm not ready to be with you. I'm not ready to date. Our ability to communicate that is more important than anything else.
Can
So,
I say something else? A lot of
we're gonna
times,
argue about
hold
this
on,
later.
show this. A lot of
I'm a
times,
win.
the 20 thing don't matter to us. So just say, I'm not ready to date. We don't care if you got 20 things. If you're at an age now, we have been, most people at our age, let me give you, let me tell you, most people that of our age have been around. We all know that we have been married, been divorced, got kids, got a whole bunch of things going on. All of us, I can name 50, 100 things on my list that I had before I came in this relationship with him, but it wasn't about my ability. I still can handle those 50 million things on that list and handle him and be in a relationship with him. But you gotta just say, I'm not ready to date.
Well,
Because
that's because you're a woman.
why,
That's because
why,
you're a
why are
woman,
you?
Mika. Women handle it completely different. You can do it because you're a woman. Men don't handle it like that.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna stand in. I'm sitting in the middle of Dr. Tony and Mika. So
Oh,
help me out, brothers. Help me out. Mika said it. She said, "We don't care about your 20 things."
She said it.
What she said was, "What matters most is what I want and what I
What
need."
I want
No.
from you.
Oh, let me finish, baby.
No.
I gave you
22
your
more
point.
things.
Never mind. Yeah, let
Okay,
me
go
finish.
ahead. Then I'm gonna come back with
So
mine.
no, you ain't gotta
Yes,
fight. You ain't gotta fight.
no.
Here you go. Here you go. So what that says to me, even though this isn't our issue, so like we're playing in the moment, but having a serious conversation. Uh, but like, your inability to care about my 20 things already sets precedence to my decision, and us not, well, it ain't no sense in us being together anyway, because my 20 things don't matter.
Don't
What
matter to
matters
you.
is the thing is how you've handled it in the past, and my inability to handle it the way you handle it is a red flag for you.
That's what you heard. Now, me saying we don't care is we don't
But
care.
those were your words.
But it's not that we don't care. What I'm saying
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I hear you. I hear
is
you.
that
I hear you.
is that we may not, what you can take as 20 things that has been a problem for you and say that is not a problem. We are here to, if we got that, like we've been talking about chemistry, like we've been talking about building that, finding the right person. That right person is not going to care about your 20 things. They're going to look at you and say, you know what, I see who you are, I see you. And yes, you have 20 things, and depending on what those 20 things are, but yes, you have 20 things, but I'm able to see past that. I'm able to work with you past that. So that's why I'm saying you taking your 20 thing is putting it to where those 20 things are a barrier for you to not date, but a person who really sees you could not care about those as far as being a barrier for her not to be with you.
Right.
can I just say
That's
something
what
real
I'm
quick?
saying.
I just got a short little statement, and I understand both perspectives, right? So here's what's important. Why are you building? Like, why is those 20 things on your plate right now, right? Now, once those 20 things aren't on your you're gonna regret the what you placed in importance. But now you're gonna be sitting there twiddling your thumbs by yourself. Why? Because what should have been important at the time, and the reason why I say important is because we make time for what's important. Now, yes, we are looking in the now, but once you get to where you want to be, as opposed to why you have so much on your plate and you have time to sit down and look back, are you gonna be kicking yourself in the behind for not prioritizing that relationship? And it's not that you have to pour a lot into it, right? A whole lot, but there has to be an understanding.
Well, I'm a
Because
professional arguer.
where are you building? You know, you're a
I listen very well. So what you just said just proved my point. You just stated, like I just stated this. You stated this, DJ. We make time because I wrote it down. We make time for what's important.
right.
I deem what's important to me.
Agree.
Yeah,
If
you
these
do.
15 things are important to me, that's where I deem my time should go.
You're right. But
It's
guess
just
what?
that simple. Wait a minute, hold on, Miko. So if I meet somebody, and this is hypothetically speaking,
Right, right.
and just like Keith said, because of my bad choices that Dr. Tony talked about, just pick a choice. That's why most people are in the bad situation are in today.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Oh, don't you come in here. Don't you come in here. Hold on. So when that thing DJ come, I feel just Keith. There has to be a balance in it because guess what? I'm tired of these roller coasters over here. So let me kill some of this thing before because I want to commit to a woman. But I don't feel whole as a man that no one else can make me feel because that's the way I see myself.
Okay.
I'm with
It's
you,
my
man.
ego now that I'm dealing with. Let me get it down to 10. And if she's not able to understand that, then maybe she's not the one for me. I don't care what kind of chemistry we got.
I
But
agree.
my question is, why
And I
can't
rest.
you just
And hold on,
say,
I'm gonna rest first. I rest.
can I ask you a question? But when you go to a woman and you're dating, are you saying I got 20 things, or are you saying I'm just not ready to date?
Are you asking me personally? I thought we'd be
Yes.
hypothetical. No, I'm keep ready to date.
Okay, but if you, so okay, my point of the thing is, if you have all of that and you have 20 things, instead, a lot of time what men do, they come at us with all these excuses of why,
Yes.
versus just saying, you know what, I'm just not ready to date. I don't care if you got 20, you can have one big thing. It doesn't matter. If you're not ready to date, you're just not ready to date. And
Well,
I
I'm ready
think
to date for the right
that's
one.
all you
I'm
need
not
to
ready
say.
to date people I know that's not right.
Hello, can I talk?
Yeah, 1 second, Miss Jackie.
Hold up, Miss
Let
Jackie.
me throw this out there for the people in the comments and just listening. Like a lot of this is real conversation, but our
It's
conversation
joke.
is based on us like we're adding funniness to it.
Yes.
The issues that you saw that we were going back and forth about, they're not our issues. So we laugh and we joke 99% of the time about scenarios that don't belong to us. But
And I
it's
just
just
like to take
conversation
that
and it's
further.
banter just to challenge the thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so it may seem like we're going back and forth, but when we get off of this thing, like this is over. It's time for
Yeah, we back. We're back.
yeah.
Well, I
Now
would
she gonna
like to
rub my feet
challenge.
and feed me grapes.
I want you to challenge my
Jackie,
thought.
please wait your turn. When we're ready for you to speak, we'll welcome you in. But you're interrupting their conversation. You can't do that.
Well, excuse me. That's why I said I wanted to say a thought.
Hold on one
And
second,
see,
Jackie.
I
Hold on one second,
understand
Miss Jackie.
that you're going through a lot.
Jackie, hold
Go
on one
ahead, you
Let me get
second.
it
guys
out.
finish what you're doing, and then I'll bring
Let me
her
get it out,
in.
DJ. Let me get it out if y'all don't mind.
All right.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Go ahead and unmute
Oh, she on
yourself.
mute. She don't know she on mute. Go ahead, Jackie.
We can't work on emotional intelligence. If you're trying to be funny and we having a conversation, we can't do it like that, ma'am. We got to be funny about it.
Roll up, Jackie.
My
You can't tell us how
my.
to do stuff now. Hold on. I
Okay,
can't let you go
I'm
no
just
further.
talking.
Okay.
Okay.
You gotta talk right because I control the buttons up here, so we're gonna be
Okay. Well,
respectful.
let me
No, we
talk.
don't we don't talk over each other in here. That's what we don't
Okay,
do.
but
So,
okay. Well, let me talk.
Go ahead.
but it wasn't
LJ,
your turn earlier. Is the point?
LJ,
So
LJ, let it go, baby.
Well, let's
okay.
just move on.
Okay, but let me talk. Let me talk about the subject. Okay. So the subject is, I feel like women in society, they need to work on themselves before they go into a relationship. Say if you break up with someone, why you gonna go back into a relationship so you can replace the other darkness that you're going through? A lot of women, they need to get emotional intelligence, and they not. So that's for one thing. Another thing is you have to work on yourself before you get into a relationship. That's just how I feel. Some people, they might just get into a relationship because they want to have casual sex or they just want to try to get over the hurt. But a lot of women, like I said, they gotta get emotional intelligence.
Okay, Jackie, how do they do that?
And
Jackie,
in
hold on.
order for you,
Hold on, Jackie. Listen, how do they do that? Just give me a solution.
solution is you have to forgive yourself first for all your sins.
Amen.
That's the first solution. You gotta
Praise
say,
him.
God, I forgive me for all the sins and you gotta forgive yourself. And you have to look in the mirror and tell yourself, do I love you? Or do I love the person in the mirror? If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, we appreciate that statement. I agree. Did anybody want to add anything to that?
Okay,
She's
Shorty,
right.
you love you.
Repenting is not going to give you emotional intelligence. Repenting is not going to do that.
No.
Not repent and then be emotionally intelligent.
Thank
That
Yeah, I think I think in order to gain that emotional intelligence, it starts with you looking at yourself, looking at how you respond to things, looking at your traumas, being responsible for your own actions in any given situation. I think it's important to continue to develop it. I think a lot of times people look at emotional intelligence as a final destination, but it's not. It's an ongoing journey,
Yeah.
right? In order for me to gain emotional intelligence, I might have shown some emotional intelligence today or for the last 3 days, but on Thursday, like there may be something that trigger my emotions to where I'm not able
well,
to
I
control.
think
Let me finish this point, Jack. Where I may not be able to control or balance my emotions. So emotional intelligence is not a destination. It's an ongoing journey. You will forever travel and look to better yourself in that manner.
We appreciate the statement, though, Jackie. We appreciate you coming up and have a good evening and continue to sit in and listen to the conversation.
And DJ, let me just say to Jackie, I understand what you're saying. And I do understand what you're saying. But when we tell people you got to heal, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, we have to provide a way. We just can't tell a person you need emotional intelligence, you need to heal, you need to forgive, you need to do this. Give me the process because everything is a process. But the answer is true, but the answer is given without a process on what to do. And that's where we stick out on social media. Everybody telling everybody, oh, you need to heal, you need to leave that person, you need to do this. But you don't know the plight that got that person where they're at. To really give them the directions. Now, see, the answer is easy, the process is hard. I'm writing a new book now called It's That Freaking Simple, because the answer is always that freaking simple. But now let's get to the process on how to achieve that answer.
okay.
That's all I'm saying. So to tell people to heal, like people really get on them. That's why I don't get on a lot of people panels because when somebody says, "Well, you need to heal, you need to forgive," you tell people all these things, and that's true. But just like Keith said, that's just the nugget. Now we got to go through this whole up and down emotional wave, this whole understanding, this whole reconfiguring the way that we thought that got us in the situation that put us there. So it's not just one answer spilled out. It's a process that has to come along with that.
Okay, can I give an example?
Sure, Jackie.
No, I'm gonna let y'all go.
DJ, see what I did with on Wednesday night, DJ? See?
Can I give an example? And I'm not being defend. Please don't.
Oh, no, you're fine, Jackie. Go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Say you speak your mind.
Okay, when she said the word I can control the panel. That's just an example. I'll give you an example. Come on. Can I give you an example?
Go ahead, sis.
When she said I can control the panel, see, I can tell that she been through dark moments.
Yep, that
She
did.
didn't
Well,
tackle.
well, we was
She
trying,
didn't
Jackie.
tackle. Wait a minute.
LJ.
See you
It's
later,
an
Jackie.
example.
See you later, sis. DJ.
It's an example.
No,
That
is
not
That is not an example.
Hey, Jackie, when
And
she
you're not a
said that she can get,
psychologist.
when she said she can control the panel,
I'm
what she
just
said
giving you an
was,
example. I'm giving you an
hold on,
example.
Jack. What she said was she has the ability to drop. She has the ability to mute. She has the ability to run this panel the way she feels fit. That's what controlling the panel means.
I'm giving you
It
an
doesn't
example.
necessarily mean that she's been in a dark place in her life. That just means that for the next few minutes that we're on this live, she can control how long we last on this live.
Can I
And
say something? Can I say something else? I'm gonna
Hey,
use
sure. This is why
me
it's
as an
important to
example.
listen to DJ.
I'm gonna
K.
use me as an example. How about that?
Okay.
Okay.
Last time, Jackie, like you got to go after this.
Last time I'm gonna go. When my uncle raped me when I was 13 years
All
old.
right, drop. That's it.
See, she just.
we can't go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give us.
We're changing the flow of the conversation. We gotta get back to the flow of the conversation because there's some more questions. And hey Jackie, if you still in there, I apologize for what you experienced in your childhood, but this isn't the panel necessary for that in the moment.
You gonna blame me,
Sure.
Dr. Tony?
And
Okay,
also,
sure.
most
This
of
is why you should listen to DJ.
some of you guys
K.
have been up here before, but when you're coming, you're not
baby.
coming up here to do you're not coming up here to give your opinion on anything. You're coming to ask a question. That's the purpose of having the panel,
Or
to
responsible
be able
for
to answer
something
your
that was said.
questions. So just be prepared to ask your question.
This is why I don't come on your live, LJ.
Well, I ain't gonna say nothing about yours because you my buddy and everything. So I ain't gonna be there for an hour talking about.
Now, Miss T baby, don't come up here with no
Oh,
nonsense.
Lord. Here she come.
I
What's up,
am
T?
not. I am not. Look, I just came up here because I've been tapping and I've been listening, and I love everybody that's up here. I always love
You
when
too,
Go
T.
has these amazing lives and these amazing
Thank you,
panels.
baby.
So I'm going to ask this question because I know Keith and Mika are my hearted TikTok couple. So I love them. And Dr. Tony, that's just like every time I see her, she make me smile. She make me smile from the inside out. And DJ, no, I just love me some DJ. DJ is
You back. Love you
heart
back.
of gold. Keith, you my buddy. You know I love me some Keith. And Go, come on now, Go. We live in the same city, and I don't know how I keep missing you, but I'm gonna get together with Go so I can hug her neck because I love me some Go too. So now my question is for Mika and Keith. My question is for I know this topic was some of the dating parameters, and it was kind of a little in and out with a lot of different things. But what is your advice for people out there who are venturing out into the long distance dating and merging households? Because I know that is something that you guys have been through and something you've recently done. So, any advice for those that are out there who are navigating long distance relationships, and also for those that are in the process or thinking about merging households? Yeah, I brought y'all back on track.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I would say the work never stops, and you have to be intentional about dating. You have to be intentional about dating, regardless if it's long distance, but more so if it's long distance, because you're not around that person all the time. You're starting to build the chemistry. You're trying to see if this thing gonna work. So you have to have intention. You have to have true purpose. Um, And you got to know, even when you merge your household, the works begin. I feel like that's when the real work
It's a
begins.
new level of work.
Yeah, it's total. It's more work then than it is when you're just dating long distance. Dating long distance is like, oh, we see each other. I come to your house, you come to mine. You don't see that person in full themselves, authentic selves. But once you decide that you're going to take that relationship to that next level and you're now merging and blending your family, that's a whole other, because you're talking about his kids are he loves his kids to death. They're his heart, they're his soul. I love Jada to death, and I wanted to make sure he and Court, that he was able to be what she needed for him, from, what she needed from him. And I'm able to be that to his kids. And you're going to see people go against you, people not agree with things. You're going to see people interject their opinions about stuff, but the work never stops. And I think that's when you're going to work harder at those moments. And just like we said earlier about making it intentional to understand why you two became one. It wasn't because of the kids. It wasn't because of necessarily of the families, but they are incorporated now, right? But you have to remember, without us making that commitment, without us bringing that together, then it wouldn't be happening. So we have to keep our love and our relationship going for us. And just, you have to work at it. You have to, that's the only thing I can say. It has to be a genuine relationship. You have to be intentional. You have to have true purpose, and you have to continue to make the working effort.
Yeah. What I think, first of all, long distance dating, is not for the weak,
No.
right? It's not like you have to trust a whole lot. It's not even, I'm gonna say you got to have faith
Yes.
in your partner when they're across the country, because our relationship started. She was on the Eastern Standard Time. She was in Atlanta. I was in Vegas, and so that itself like brought a whole lot of trust. So regardless of her past trauma with men or cheating or mine, like we had to trust that what she said she was at, and I did. Like I never thought for once that was an issue. Although that was part of my past, life experiences. She said intentionality. It's about being able to say, you know what, I need to go to Atlanta, not because I have time. I have to go to Atlanta, not because of my time, not because because I'm busy. I got a full schedule and she's busy. But it was just like, I wanted this woman. So I had to be extremely intentional about going and get what I wanted. And so I did that, and I still strive for that, even when we're here. Who we were when we were long distance in the long distance relationship are the same people we are now, right? And that hasn't changed. We've just been intentional, and that's really what I can say. When you get tired, when you get exhausted, when you don't feel like doing it no more, push a little harder. You know what I mean? Because sometimes we get to a space and we just give up because it's not going the way that we wanted to, in reference to like, well, we've been doing long distance for 6 months and it ain't going the way I wanted to go. I want us to be closer. Just keep going. Time will work it out. You know what I mean? Time will work it out. And so I think we did that. And when we moved in together, like she said, that's when things began. Like I saw things in her that I didn't see in long distance. She saw things in me that she didn't see in long distance. And so now we get to see it in a whole different light. One thing I think that I know I've been blessed to see is that this woman has been the same woman in long distance in close proximity. And so, there were some things that I didn't see, but it made our relationship deeper. There were some things I didn't get to experience, having her here with me, that now that I get to experience it, it has made my love stronger. So, it's important to just be intentional. And when this long distance, every given moment that we both had, when we FaceTime. We never had, I don't think we ever had a phone call when we were when we were dating long distance. Every moment that we had in the car, even though it's illegal, in the car on my way home, she on FaceTime on my phone, like with my phone sitting down. When I'm at work and I get a break, I'm calling her. When she at work, she FaceTiming me. When I go to the cigar lounge to chill, so she know I'm not out with nobody. She on the phone with me. I'm FaceTiming her, puffing my cigar, with my drink. So it's like I was real intentional about showing her all that I could show her about who I was when we were in far away.
And can I say that that hasn't stopped? Like when I get to work first thing in the morning, guess what? Even though I just left him, guess who I'm FaceTiming?
Still the same.
And he does the same. When we in the car driving to work, I mean, like we're here, so we don't do it as often, but we still do it. So our behavior and our things have never changed. And as far as the, getting a time frame, oh, we long distance, we should, move together and be together in order to make it work. To be honest, it was very unexpected for me to move here. Opportunity just presented.
Yeah, it just worked. It wasn't
worked out. It wasn't like me and
plan
him talked and said, "Oh, we're gonna move together this month and this time."
Yeah.
Opportunities came up, jobs came up, things came up, and I was like, and we talked about it, and we were actually trying to make sure it was the right time. I ain't gonna say right timing, but the right, like he was ready, and I was ready. Put it that way. Like not that I was just ready, but both of us was ready. And we just did it. We just took a faith, and we was just like, okay, like this is it. Like we're moving in together. And I asked him, I said, "Are you sure you want me, my dog, and because he took a lot from me moving here. He took my dog, me, Jada. You know what I'm saying? And now we're a little happy. And he got his kids. We're a happy little family.
I'm coming to Vegas, and I'm shaking your hand, Keith.
Man,
I'm coming to Vegas, bro.
Hey, bro, but you said something that when I tell people they get mad at me, you said I wanted that woman.
Yeah.
In a discussion.
Indeed.
In a discussion.
Right.
I wanted this man.
Men, I'm just talking to the men right now. We know what we want.
Turn my camera off real quick.
Just that. It's simple. It's just that freaking simple. So when he don't.
When he
I
don't,
can like you and not want to be with you forever.
Yeah, man, agreed.
But when we make our mind up that this is the one, nothing can stop it. And excuse me for saying it this way, then the universe bend to it and give it to you. Right, it's just that simple, man. People want to make this thing hard.
Listen, a short like when she made the decision to move here, it wasn't from I helped motivate it, I'm sure, but the job offer came. Boom. And it just so happened the job offer just so happened to be up the street.
Crazy,
right? Out of all the jobs that she had just started a job as a director in Colorado, and she was only in it for a few months before somebody else called her and said, "Hey, we got something for you. Tell me what you think." And she like, "Where's it at?" It's in Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Vegas. She was like, "Bet, I'm coming." And so it's about a 15-minute drive for her. So when you want something bad enough, I'm with that, Kay. When you want something bad enough, you know what I mean, God or the universe or whoever you want to call it, whoever you work with, the head of lettuce, whatever works for you, Brother Rock, it'll work it out for you. It'll work out for you.
And one thing I can say, for me, I am very spiritual, and we prayed about a lot. We prayed even on the phone. I don't know if y'all saw the video on my page when he had came in town and I had set up a thing for him, and we were praying. Like the whole time that we've been together, we have constantly prayed. And I told him, I said, if God is not in the midst of this, then I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Come on, pray me away.
I was not praying you away. I just told God, if this is not the person for me, then remove him.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather be by myself and I'd rather be with you than to have someone in my life that is not from you. But if he is from you, then prosper this. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
I got a question, Keith. There was a time where you said you dropped a little we had a discussion in a live one time. Remember the discussion we had in a live one time?
Which Keith you talking about?
You. And we told Mika not to go back and watch the live. You remember?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
First of all, T baby, you can't put me on the spot in those private conversations. You put me on the spot in them private conversations. Now I gotta bring it all out. I gotta talk about it here. It's awkward right now. But to your point,
Okay,
yeah.
listen. Cause you know I love y'all. Y'all make me pop my bun is gone.
T baby, thank you for coming up tonight and participating and
You guys
answering your
have a blessed
questions.
night.
All right, T,
Bye.
baby. See you
Baby.
around.
Baby.
Welcome in, Joanna. You can unmute your mic if you're ready to speak.
Hey, good evening.
Good
So
evening. How are you?
Hello.
I'm doing
Hi.
well. I'm doing well. Um, I'm glad she asked the question that she asked. So for me, I feel like I met this guy. We're about, if we're driving, it's about a good 5 hour drive, and I don't know if he's moving too fast or if maybe I'm moving too slow. And I don't know. And I guess, is that a good thing or bad? I don't know. I feel like, we're in our 40s. I get it, but I don't know. I feel like he just, hey,
Since you
So,
ain't saying nothing.
yeah,
I know
so
I'm not.
Joanna,
I'm trying to
ask,
formulate.
formulate a question and ask either Keith or DJ or
Okay.
Keisha, well, they're both Keith, but Keith, one of the Keiths or DJ specifically since you're asking a question about your guy, ask them because they can better give you respond to a question rather than you just saying what's going on.
How do you know when someone's moving too fast? I don't know if y'all can even answer that, but how do you
Go
know
ahead, K. Short.
yeah, if he's
You
moving
feel
too
it. It's
fast?
in your gut. You already know it. You ain't ready.
Okay.
Listen. You feel that way because it triggers something in you. It sparks something that you already know. See, a person can't move you as fast as you will, or you willing to go. Then you'll feel uneasy because you're not ready. And then now I'm gonna ask you a real question because brothers talk a lot. Is he talking too fast or is he moving too fast? Because most time we don't do nothing. We just talk about
Um, moving. Yeah.
it. Too hard. He just talking fast. He ain't doing nothing. I'm sorry to say it that way, but you understand what I'm saying? 'Cause
No,
if
no,
he
that's
was, you would
fine. That's
know.
good. That's good.
Yeah. See, we men have learned to give hope to their situations, and as long as you hopeful, you're gonna let me drive the narrative, and it may not be the right narrative for you.
And I want to ask a question. What's your apprehension about letting him move to where you are?
Him move to where I'm at?
Is that what we're talking about? Him moving to where you are,
No, he
right?
wants me to move to where he's at.
What's
Mm-mm.
your
Okay,
apprehension about
good.
moving
Tell
to
me
where
that you
you
need $5,000. Tell me that he need to put stipulations on it. If he's serious, put those stipulations out there. This is what I need to move.
Okay.
So you know one thing about us, and I don't want to keep talking about us, but just for a reference point, we both were open to relocate
Either way,
either way. It wasn't because of like even in my job, and I'm pretty well established in the Vegas area, but like I was ready to give that up for her and do it different. And so, what is he willing to give up for you, and you giving up so much for him? Like Nika moving here, like she gave up a lot, but I'm also willing to give up everything. What is he? What has he shown that he's willing to give up? Now you don't have to, Joanna. You don't have to answer that question with us, but that's a thoughtful process that you got to have in thinking about what is this man willing to give up for me, and that will determine if he's just talking or if he's looking for a come up.
Yeah.
and I just got two questions too, and you don't have to answer them. How long y'all been dating?
Not long.
Okay, what have he done to prove to you that he's serious about you moving out there?
To me, not enough.
Well, you got your answers,
I
sis.
mean, right. I mean, like, not. I mean, not. I mean, yeah, not enough. I'm not. Yeah,
Yeah, you got your answers
I'm
already.
still chilling. Like,
So, once you have, so did you not want to face it, or you needed us to confirm it? Which one would you look at?
maybe just confirmation. Like, because Yeah, just confirmation.
You know.
Can I just say from another woman who did move across the country with a child
And a dog.
You know.
and a dog, it was he was worth it for me. He was worth it for her. He was worth it for us. It wasn't, and my move, it wasn't a second thought for me. I didn't have to guess. I didn't need confirmation from anybody. The fact that you have to ask for confirmation from other people is probably you shouldn't. Because I didn't seek confirmation other than God, but I didn't seek confirmation. I knew in my heart what we were doing and what I was doing was okay, and I'm okay. Like he give me comfort enough to know with me moving across the country and coming here and being with a child, he is still a security for me whether I was long distance or local.
For me, I just think that it's like we haven't been talking long enough. Like you know what I'm saying? It's too soon for me to, even though with my job I can work anywhere I want to work. But I feel like it's just too soon, and yeah, yeah.
Well,
But
I would
That
go with
was
what
your,
you're
that.
saying though, that makes
I would go with that.
that's your answer.
And
You know
if
already.
he's invested in you just as much, is if he's invested in you, he will understand that.
yeah,
Facts.
yeah.
He'll understand that.
I like that, Mika, because
That's
if
good
he
stuff.
said, "Hey, we're moving too fast, but I still want to continue us to grow," if he have a problem with that, then that's not what he wanted.
Right.
No, he didn't have a problem with it.
Okay, well, then, girl, take your time. You might have a good one. Just take your time. Stop tripping,
We appreciate you, Joanna.
Thank you, thank you. You guys have a good evening.
All right, take care.
Joanna.
Oh, please don't.
He's so silly.
Chandra, Chandra, welcome in. Please unmute your mic.
Chandra,
Chandra,
are you there?
Chandra said, I'm taking a nap while y'all talk.
You stupid.
or she may not know how to. She doesn't have that many followers. She may not know how to unmute her mic. Actually, because I
So
did.
if you're listening to me, tap your box right where your face is, touch the microphone, and then hit the red bar at the bottom that says save. If you can hear me. Tap on your box right where your face is, then tap the microphone and hit save. The red
And put
bar.
something in the chat if you're actually here still. Please put a message in the chat so that we know that you're trying to do something as opposed to accidentally came up.
Going once.
Two.
It's all DJ fault.
How's it my fault? It's your fault. You the one asking all them questions.
My bad, dog.
Y'all are silly.
That's what I do. I'm the question of the day, dude.
Right. I could talk because this
Hey,
ain't
help me out, Keith. You
That's
know
true. That's true. He asking all them questions. Because question of the day, dude.
Yeah. If this was Wednesday, I had to watch what I say, but it's Saturday.
I'm gonna get you Wednesday, dog. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like that's it. So I want to thank everyone on the panel as well as everyone in the chat. Panelists for devoting their time to the night, and then you saying something.
Well, I just wanted to say something before you end it. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys go do your final thoughts though.
Oh, okay.
Once,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
once I do the thanks, yeah. So thank everyone for participating, for gifting, liking, and sharing, and thank the panelists for participating tonight. And we're gonna go through and let them give their final thoughts. Start with DJ.
All right. Hello, everyone. So in this space of healing, right, in this space of dating, in this space of life, in order to move forward, right, keep doing what's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. Right? Keep doing what's uncomfortable until it becomes comfortable. That's how you know you're progressing. That's how you know you're ready. All right. That's all I got. So, thank you,
K
bro.
Short. You're welcome. K Short.
All right, just two things. Date the person in front of you. Let your past go. Just date the person in front of you. And relationship-wise, the first relationship is within yourself. You know, we so caught up in these. You know, I want to mate. But how about your relationship with your kids, with your family, with your coworkers, with your, you have to know how to relate to people in order to be in a good relationship. Some of us are horrible people. And when it comes to communications and the way that we handle things and respond, and that's going to hinder sometimes. It may hinder. If we don't get lucky, it may hinder you in finding that mate because of the energy you put out.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dr. Tony?
I would say that make sure that if you're single, that you are committed to being successfully single. Make sure you have three important people in your life: Jesus, a counselor, and a coach. I think you need all three.
I'm your coach.
You're not my coach.
Keith, I'm her coach.
I believe it, K. Sure, I believe it.
Thank you, DJ.
Sometimes you gotta just tell her.
Just let it know.
Or name it, or name it and claim it.
That too.
Okay, Coach Keith. I'm actually your coach. But anyway, make sure you have those three things, in your life: Jesus, a counselor, and a coach. And again, work on being successfully single. And at the bottom of that pile of how to be successfully single is just live. Make sure that you're living. Live life. Don't wait until you get married to live, because it may look completely different. So be intentional about living, be intentional about life, and you make sure that you live life and don't let life live you.
Thank you, Dr. Tony.
Okay, so
Mika?
All right. So what do I have to say? First of all, I want to say this. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you got lucky with a good." I didn't get lucky. I believe God already had my man for me. He was on reserve. I had to do the work.
That's right.
So I couldn't receive him until I became whole in me. So meaning when I say whole, I mean like understanding who I was as a woman, what I had to give. So I mean like understanding who I was as a woman, what I had to give. So this had nothing to do with luck, but faith and knowing that I knew that he was already existing, but he was just on hold. Second, don't date like everybody else. People want to go to your friends and people want to ask all these people how to date. It's a fine to get advice. It is fine to ask for, things, advice about certain things, or question if you have to question things. But people want to date. Oh, my friend, she went and my sister went, and this is how. Date like you need to. A lot of people did not agree with me and Keith when we moved in together. A lot of people was like, "Oh, y'all gonna move in and y'all not married," and is because at the end of the day, this is a me and him and a God situation. It's not me, him, and the world. And sometimes you got to keep the world out of your dating life. You got to keep the world out of your business. And you just got to have, like I'm with Dr. Tony too, having those three good people in your life to help you, get through things or to cope with things. I think that is important. But I do not think that a lot of time the reason why people are single, you got too many people in your dating world. So keep the world out your dating scene. Don't be afraid to date. Work on you during your singlehood and just chill. Stop trying to put too much pressure on dating. Stop trying to put too many bullet points on what somebody can do or give you, and figure out who you are to that person. And then you would attract who you need.
You better say that, girl.
So silly.
Jada over here like facts. I'm gonna say this. From a holistic point of view, I think we touched on the relationship piece, and great advice, and there's nothing to add to that. But what I can say is, and it's what I always say, life comes with experiences, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite quote, one of my only quotes. Life comes with experiences, and experiences for everybody. It's not so much about the experiences that you have as it is how you respond to those experiences. We all have experiences, and even though it may not be the exact same, it falls in line with some form. We all lose people. We all have losses. We all, have breakups. We all have trying times in our life. We all have that. It's about how you respond to it. You still have a choice in how you respond to it. And the better you respond to it, the better this thing called life will become. If you say that life is horrible on a daily basis, then you will find ways to prove that on a daily basis. But if you say, you know what, life is good, you will also find ways to prove that on a daily basis. And so it's important to how you view this thing called life is so key, and things come to people. The things that you desire come to people because of your perspective. And so, change your perspective and you change your game. Keep your perspective. You stay in the same game you've been playing all your life. And so, be encouraged, just look to grow, learn to grow. If you don't know how, find some people like a coach, a therapist, and like Dr. Tony said, the Lord, and he'll help you get there.
Thank you, Go. Thank you for holding this panel.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll be. We have Men's Mental Health Month coming up next month, and last year Keith was one of the original. Little Keith was one of the original panelists. So you, the one that established that.
That was me. I did that. Give me my credit. I established that. Give me my credit, Go.
Hey, you the man, dog. You know, you my guy.
Yeah, so I'll be reaching out to you about that. And I also failed to recognize my moderators. I want to thank you guys tremendously because you always do an awesome job, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that. So to wrap up tonight's panel, in order to achieve the 3 C's, which is consistency, chemistry, and communication, it's going to be difficult to do that without good mental health. So make sure that you keep your mental health in check, and you have a better chance of at least being successful in that. But if it's out of whack, it's probably not going to be a good situation. But yes,
nobody got nobody. Cause mine is out of whack,
bro.
You said it. You said it.
Hey,
I'm not speaking to existence. I'm just being. Keith, I got you a question. What's the difference between being honest and speaking things into existence? Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself first, right?
Sometimes you got to be honest, but those, it's okay to be honest with yourself. But the things you speak into existence is things that you keep repeating on a daily basis.
I'm a bad man.
Yeah. I'm a bad man.
You say it to yourself rather than speaking it out loud. So if you just say to yourself mentally what you just said, as opposed to putting it in the atmosphere, those are 2 different things.
I've been trying to get this lottery ticket in the atmosphere. It ain't working.
It ain't working. It ain't working for me.
First of all,
it don't work for me because I don't play it, but I be wanting to hit.
Right. Hey, I only play it when I travel, man.
Right, man. Me too. Hey, thank y'all, man.
Yeah, appreciate everybody in the chat as well as the panelists.
Yes. Hi, everyone that spoke. We didn't get a chance to speak back.
Hey, listen, the people you have in this panel, all 3 of them are in my top list of people that I admire on this app. K Short and D, like y'all my brothers. Like I feel like I've met y'all in person, and we've never met in person. We got to make that happen. And Dr. Tony, when I used to see her lives before we even actually met on this panel, she be in something. It looked like a courtroom or a boardroom, something. And I'd be like, this woman, she like a radio show, something. I'm like, this woman is
all of the above.
She got it going on, and I didn't know. I didn't know her at that time, but when I had the chance to get into a live with her, we had a real good conversation. And I think it was Dr. Tony, me, and Keith Short in the live. And it was a small, intimate type. Like it wasn't a lot of people watching. It was just us, and it was like meant to be just a great conversation. So again, these are some of my favorite people on this app, and I'm not just saying that, but I love y'all. Y'all some good people, man.
And this is my first time meeting you, Mika. It's awesome to meet you.
Thank you for the gifts and everything too, and nice to meet you guys. I think Dr. Tony, I met you before.
Mika, you off the chain,
so, but I got your back, Mika. I got your back.
Thank
you. Keith, that's a Georgia Peach. Keith, that's a Georgia Peach, baby.
Yeah. Got me a Georgia Peach.
Yeah. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
LJ, we'll talk in a minute. DJ?
Yeah, you already know. All right, my brothers. All right, ladies.
All right, bye-bye. Bye, DJ.
Bye.
I can't get out. There we go.